Hey, what's up?
Back in Cafe Zola again. Hi Zola. She's over there at her corner table.
Yes.
With a chest set in front of her, sipping jasmine tea as usual. Let me say this. I've been receiving calls, emails, whatever, from friends of mine. And they saying, hey, you know, what is this stuff with these newspaper columns you reading? So I explained that, no problem. Well, what about this drum thing? What are you playing? What is that? What are those things? Somebody asked. Can you believe it? Bongos. Bongos. So, you know, we know what the conga is and the djembe and so forth. What are you playing? The bongos. What are you playing? I said, well, I tell you what. Thursday evening, I'll play 3 rhythms for you. No, four rhythms. And, you know, give a brief explanation of what the 4 rhythms are. How about that?
That's a good idea. This is prior to your reading, right?
Prior to the reading.
Okay.
So,
African time.
off we go. The first rhythm, of course, is a celebration of Elegba. I'm going to Africa, Cuba, and Brazil. That's enough. And then maybe a little Chicago. That's Africa. Okay. Academically, we're off to Cuba. And usually you hear Wawanko played with some Congo drummers. I'm trying to do it with 2 bongos. And there's only me. dudes creeping down through an alley, going to buy some crack.
No. What's that rhythm though?
Wawanko.
Wawanko. Okay.
Wawanko. The wawanko can be played fast or slow. The old slow way is called yambu, and I don't know if I can get it on the conga, on the bongos, but I'll try. And from Cuba, we go to Brazil.
Brazil?
Brazil for the sambas.
The sambas. So you're going to play a samba rhythm.
The samba. I don't know if the varieties of sambas, but the different sambas. There's some sambas, seem to me, a little bit more African-esque than some other sambas. We were listening to a samba on the radio, and they seem to have had a little bit too much brass in it. It wasn't carried along by that African rhythm, and that's what the samba is. It's an African rhythm. This is one version, one. I'd like to put a lot of variations in it, but by starting it off real slow, I can work my way up to some stuff that I can hardly do. But I try.
All right. Samba on.
More complex. forgot where I was.
All right.
And I'm
Got
gonna
lost
end
in
it
the samba. I got lost in the samba.
I'll end it on Chicago.
Okay.
I'm standing up at a corner somewhere, 43rd and King Drive, 51st, wherever it was on the south side of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I started listening to all of these clicking sounds, all these rhythmic sounds that suddenly seemed to surround me. I was waiting for the light to change. Cars were, blowing and da-da-da. Busy street, summertime.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a rhythm, not from the record shop down the street, but from the scene. The lights were changing. There was a kind of a general undercurrent of the crowd. Mm-hmm. They were busy going to different places. Several other really almost like clobbers. They happen in time. Of course, streetcars, cars driving down the street blowing their horns. So I started putting like an impressionist musical percussion exploration of the sounds heard on the Chicago street corner.
All right. Let us hear it.
And of course, since everything always ends with a rhythm, it's going to end with a rhythm. Chicago, I'm so glad to be away from there.
That cold does not entice you, does it?
Especially in the wintertime.
I know.
No, summer, you could play about, but can you imagine yourself sitting up trying to write some music or to imitate some music that happened on the street corner in the wintertime?
Okay.
I don't know. So that's what I'm playing, man.
Because
Alfred, James,
okay.
Palmer, Ralph, all of y'all, that's what I'm playing. And I don't know any more about it than you do.
Eric, Jason.
Except that I do.
Then there's Eric.
And I promised, as promised, the story this evening is what it was last evening. One of the column from the Pan-African, from the African Times newspaper, published in Los Angeles for my time as a columnist for the African Times. It's from 96 to 99. And one of the reasons why I'm reading this is that I'm terribly proud of having been associated with his newspaper. They were, at the time that Charles Anyiam, the publisher, at the time that he started the newspaper, I can't think of any newspaper in all of the United States of America. I can't think of one that was featuring news of and about the Pan-African community. You know, the Sentinel is there, and the Chicago Fender is there, some other so-called ethnic newspapers. But no one was focusing on Africa as a news continent. And there was Anyiam, who said, go at it. He didn't have a fake English accent or anything. He was an Igbo man from Nigeria, and had a lot of business sense. I really think about him a lot. But let us go on to the reading. To African Americans, Ghana is it. Oh, is that the way it starts? Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
I had changed my name from column to column. After 15 or 16, I got tired of saying Odie, O-D-I-E. And somebody told me from Ghana, your name is Odei. You can't spell your own name. Your name is Odei. So, what do you mean, man? My name is Odie, O-D-I-E. No, your name is Odei. O-D-E-I. So I thought, okay. Yeah, okay.
I'll take all my African spelling.
You know, I haven't been baptized or anything, but let's see what happens. So at the end of Odei, I put Ofaini. I beg you.
Okay.
In other words, I've just simply asked the readers with two words, Odei Ofainé, to please accept my new name.
All right.
For a couple of columns. I think I went back to Odie after that.
Really? Okay.
I was just carrying on something outrageous. As most of us know, there are many Ghanaians who are quite annoyed with their president, Jerry John Rawlings. They think he's been on the stool too long. And they sarcastically refer to him as his Jerryship. However, they are fully cognizant of the fact that he has a good relationship with the IMF and the World Bank, which funnels ducats into the Republic that they wouldn't receive if they were a different kind of man or woman on the stool. For those who do not know what stool refers to within the Ghanaian sense, look it up. Additionally, when those who call him his Jerryship look up and down the coast of West Africa, they have to concede that Ghana is indeed the black star of West Africa. Since gaining independence from England in 1957, the country has had an unprecedented stretch of relative peace and prosperity, and under President Rawlings, whether they love him or not, they do not live in a country that has suffered the agonies of Angola, Congo, Nigeria, Liberia, Sierra Leone, or Mauritania. This is not a brief for the Rawlings regime, but rather an objective assessment of the present-day situation in Ghana. Incredibly, Ghana, of all the West African states, has been the only one to actively encourage African Americans on a large scale to return with investment dollars, to be sure, but nevertheless to return. Are we not after Panafest?
Wow.
Are we not at Panafest 20?
And this column was written when?
2019. This column was written January 1999.
Wow.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I didn't write it. Maybe there was a ghost writer or something. But going right along.
Mm-hmm.
Since the early days of its independence under Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, African Americans have been cordially welcomed and treated with respect. Nkrumah's gift of an estate to W.E.B. Du Bois in Accra was just one example of Ghana's attitude toward African Americans. Of course, there are Ghanaians who don't like Americans, period. And there are African Americans who don't like Africans. We live on crooked streets. Some say that Nkrumah's education at an American university was responsible for his hospitable treatment of W.E.B. Du Bois's and other African Americans. Perhaps. The fact that they have been traditionally welcomed for whatever reasons is irrefutable. Thus far, Ghana is the only West African country to offer formal apologies to African Americans for its participation in the transatlantic slave business. It was done at ceremonies during Panafest 94. Of course, the gesture was purely symbolic. I don't think any living Ghanaian could be held responsible for the actions of his forefathers, and any more than we can hold individual Englishmen or European Americans responsible for the sins of their ancestors. But the gesture was made. The thick line has to be drawn concerning reparations. The Ghanaians entrepreneurs were paid for their merchandise, the enslaved merchandise. The human beings and their descendants should be compensated for bringing the slave-using states, America, England, Portugal, etc., to the various levels of affluence that they enjoy today. This is really delicate stuff here.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm prancing along a little fence that says, don't tilt this way or that way.
Yeah.
There are a few of us who are willing to admit it even now. There are a few who are willing to admit it even now, but one of the reasons why the west coast of Africa lingers in the depths of the third world, Chairman Mao's designation, stems from the great loss of healthy people that has suffered during the peak years of the African diaspora, Holocaust. Finally, recently, the Deputy Minister of Tourism for the Republic of Ghana, Uraka Amofa, led a delegation of government officials and business people on a 13-city visit to the U.S. seeking investors in business and or for tourism ventures in Ghana. The Honorable Deputy Minister Amofa extended invitations to 3 major events to be held in Ghana in 1999. The African Travel Association Congress 99, Panafest 99, and Emancipation 99. His Jerryship may not always be aboard, but Ghana will always be there. Think about a trip. And here we are in 2019, heading slowly and inextricably
the year of the return. Amazing.
It's kind of, it tripped me out because
that's history.
I was trying to be a little forward thinking, but I had no idea that I would be at 2019 and 1996.
Yes. at the same time. Wow.
So what have you to say to me about this or anything? I mean, what is it that you're allowing me to do in Cafe Zola? Explore my inner being?
Yes, indeed. Explore, open our minds, teach us to think a different way, show us different paths. That's all.
Are we still talking about history?
His story, or our story we're talking about.
We're almost on the same page.
I think so.
How about tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Let's give it a chance.
Fantastic.
Where can you get this stuff from?
Okay, well, your books can be found.
I mean, all 35 of them?
All of your books can be found, all of your published books.
Oh, on the published.
Not the 10 that aren't published.
That's 32.
Okay, but the published books can be found on your website, www.odiehawkins.com, or a person can Google you and find stories that you've written in magazines in Paris, which your wife found out by Googling you once. All right. And
this is the commercial, I think, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Is this the commercial?
The commercial part, yes.
Oh,
okay. Also on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, was it Archway Publishing?
And Mary's Gambling House?
Well, that's one of your stories. Okay. And,
She sold everything.
Yes, well.
She would have sold books if they had a book.
Well, if you'd had published back then when she was alive, you published Ghetto Sketches.
You're so quick, I can't catch you all.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Moving forward. Anyway, Google Odie Hawkins. You'll find your records that can be bought at Old Time Radio. Movies and such can be seen sometimes on TV, like The Big Party with Sanford and Son, or Palmerstown, Old Sister.
One of those old things. I got a residual check the other day for 47 cents from one of them. I can't remember which one.
I think it was Palmerstown. Okay.
Palmerstown.
Right, yeah, and that's pretty good considering, they delve it up to like 6 cents a showing or whatever.
It's incredible.
Yes. But moving right along, you will be this weekend, I believe, at what is it called? The Vintage book sale in Glendale.
I think it's called the African Hour.
Not quite.
Is that right? No.
He'll be this
It's right
weekend.
across the street from this Korean restaurant that features goat.
Oh, now that's
goat soup.
Gentai Kim, his restaurant.
We'll go and get the goat soup
yes.
and then go across the street and get the African hot soup.
Moving right along.
Yes.
Until
Once
tomorrow.
again, moving right along. How many times did you move right along?
Oh, you got to keep on moving till you can't move at all. All right.
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
Is that
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Ciao.